Hey there guys, this is Victor with Victor Vector JKU. Over the weekend, I ran into a few issues, had some pretty good rubbing going on with my new 37s, so got a few mods that I gotta do, so stay tuned. Alright guys, so yesterday I was up at Reeder Trails ORV area up in Index, Washington, and ran into a few rub issues on my JKU. So basically what I ended up determining was that when I flex out and have this wheel stuffed and I'm turned hard passenger, that my tire will catch the bumper here, and that ended up chewing up my tire a little bit. So I got these outer blocks here, they got a bit of ripping into, which kind of sucks. Some of them are a bit pretty rough, and they come all the way down to the base of the tire there, so that kind of sucks, but whatever, live and learn. So what I'm going to be doing today, I'm going to be marking up the bumper here, figuring out what I got to cut off to modify it so I don't run into that issue, and then also I'm looking to possibly pull off the fender flares, because, or at least temporarily, because as you can see here, I ended up ripping them a little bit when I was out there with getting my tires up into the wheel wells, because I'm running 3.5 inches of lift with 37-inch tall tires, and everyone recommends that if you're running 37s, you need to be running at a 4.5-inch lift minimum. So I'm gonna pull those guys off, clean up, and then reattach them. All right, so guys, basically what I kind of figured out yesterday is that I could probably relieve the bumper and just cut off some of the backside here and make that work. But really, I kind of want to go with a little bit more of a stubby design. So I'm going to look at, where can I cut this, and then how do I want to deal with the backside. So what I decided to do is I'm going to go and start off with some blue Scotch tape, just some painter's tape. I'm going to sort of mark out kind of the lines that I want to kind of look at here, figure out what I like, and then I can draw on this to figure out, okay, what angle do I want to be at, and then just sort of modify it there. And then once I figure out all that finally, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to break up my angle grinder, cut it off, and then I'll weld on a cap plate on the outside edge. So I'm going to go ahead and sort of tape it out and see what I think. Because I want to try to do this in one cut if I can. So I'm going to also turn on the Jeep, turn the tire, and see how it looks, because I want to try to get it so it's one cut, then I can hopefully transfer that template over to the other side. I can get them as symmetrical as possible. So one thing I'm kind of looking at here that I want to do with this end here, the old bumper kind of matches the end of the fender flare a little bit. Comes pretty close there, and so now I'm not going to be aligned with the fender flare anymore, so I don't really care to line up with that, but my hope is I want to line up with kind of what the body line is here. That's what I'm aiming for, to match now. So that's what I'm kind of shooting for. We'll see how well I can get there. And then on the bottom side here, what I'm doing is I'm kind of matching the cut of the tire when it's turned to lock. So I'm trying to line up that kind of close. It's not quite there. I could actually go a little bit steeper back, but if anything, I want to be a little bit more trimmed away here. Try to prevent the issue of hitting this corner at all. Alright, so to help out with marking the bumper off, because I don't want to have to remove the bumper to cut it, I want to cut it on the Jeep. So I'm going to get this fender out of the way real quick. So I'm going to go and work on popping that guy off. So yeah, now with the fender flare out of the way, now I can kind of judge how I want this guy to come back. If I wanted to go straight across so it kind of matches with the grill, which actually doesn't look terrible, but I want to allow for more wheel articulation up into this, so I'm going to try to kind of match that angle of the tire as best as I can. Let's do some cutting. right. There's the first cut. No going back now. Angle. Fat mosquito. You see that? I got that guy. I'll definitely be cutting back here at an angle because I definitely don't want to leave that because the tire will come up and that'll be a contact point. But up here is not as much of a concern, but I think I'm feeling coming at an angle. Yeah. I think I'm going to hit this middle line that I drew before. That's what I'm going to do. Alright, and then to protect the paint from any sparks and stuff, I'm going to throw this tarp over top. Alright, and I think that turned out pretty good right there. I like the way that looks. Get a good bit more clearance right through here. Cutting that back. Then right here what I'll do is I'll cap it off from corner to corner. And that'll shield the fog light bracket a bit. It'll be nice and pretty. But yeah, so that'll give me a whole bunch more clearance there. Shouldn't have to worry about any more tire rub on that bumper anymore. That'll be good. Alright, next up I'm going to come through with the 80 grit flapper wheel. Just clean up the edges, make it smooth, a little bit nicer. So again, kind of what I did on the other side, I just took the cut piece and I made a template. I just sort of reversed it, marked where it needed to be cut. Cut, grinded, everything matches up nice and similar to the other side now. So I got my two matching sides. I think it looks pretty good. So I thought it'd be kind of cool to do a little comparison of what it was before, what it is now. Kind of cool. But yeah, so what I did on the other side over here, I basically just meshed this guy up, put him there, traced around, went with a straight edge, verified, made sure everything looks good. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go and cut out this chunk and then that'll be ready to be welded in to cap off that end. And then I'll just do the same thing once I got this guy verified over there. I'll look and see what it fits up on this side if I can. I'll just transfer this over to the other corner piece, cut them both out, clean them up, and I can start tacking them on. Alright guys, so I just finished verifying, make sure that this guy is traced out right. So I'm going to go ahead and cut him up now. Alright guys, so fit check. So it fits pretty good right there. What I gotta do is round off the corner here and here, and what I gotta do is I got to cut a little bit more off the top here, and that'll bring me right into where I need to be. Basically have to cut off maybe almost a ½ an inch off right here, so I just gotta cut that a little bit off and I'll be good. So I'm gonna go and do that real quick. So when looking at the other side, I need it to be a little bit taller, so I'm just gonna leave a little extra up there and then I'll come back and I'll cut that off once I get it figured out, but otherwise everything else looks about right. Alright. So I got my template traced over. Alright guys, so let me show you how this worked out. So I made it so it's just small enough to be able to fit right inside there. So I'll just go ahead and fixture that up and I can just bump it out a little bit. And what I'll do is I'll just do a fill weld right around the corner there. Get a nice thick bead in there. Then come afterwards, grind it smooth, make it nice and round like everything else. And that'll look really clean there to finish off. Nice. Alright guys, so got the metal all cleaned up, the mill scale removed from the areas I'm going to be welding on. So I'm ready to go ahead and get this guy into place. So he's going to be going just right there. So I just have to figure out how I want to hold him in place. So I'm going to set up some of these magnets, see what I can do to get some of this stuff set in a good location. I already got my ground set up. Got my battery disconnected, both positive, negative. I have my ECU disconnected, both the two plugs there, along with the negative. Alright. Yep, so the magnets are not working out to my liking right now, so I'm probably just going to have to hold it kind of in place once I get it figured out, tack it, and we'll go from there. So there's my tacks to start off with. Got that plate in there, right where I want them, so looking pretty good so far. Let's see from the back side a little bit. This will be pretty sweet. All right, now I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna start laying down some beads, and I'm just gonna sort of spread it out so I don't distort the metal too much in any one place. So I'm gonna start up here, do a little bead across, and then I'm gonna probably go right here, do a bead. I'll come back up top here and then finish up. All right, there we go. So that's gonna finish off that guy right there. So I'll come back afterwards once I'm done with the other side, and I'm gonna go and grind that guy nice and smooth, make him look pretty like everywhere else on the bumper. Not too bad. Alright guys, so that wraps up the welding. So I'll go ahead and show you real quick. So a way you can tell you have good penetration, see where the bluing is that's coming out to the sides here? That shows that you're getting penetration of the heat into the base material really far. That means I'm getting good penetration. They're not the prettiest welds. I mean, they're decent, but they're a little bubbly. They're not the best welds, but you can see I got penetration over on this side again as well. So, we'll see where we get to, so I'm gonna go and start grinding now. Alright guys, so that's side one done. Looks pretty darn good if I do say so myself. Alright guys, it's gonna wrap it up. So that gets the new end caps onto the bumper. So we're all finished up there. The only thing that I gotta do now is just gotta prep it, prime it, paint it. But first what I'm gonna do, hopefully I can get it done fairly quick. I'm gonna get my Jeep washed real quick, get this all cleaned up, get everything else cleaned up, and then what I'll do is I'll hopefully tomorrow be able to hit this guy with some paint and primer. So pretty happy with it. I think it turned out good. So it'll be interesting to see once I flex how my clearance works out and everything. We will catch you guys another day, finish this up. Alright, have a good evening guys. Catch you later. Hey, so I just realized that I never given you guys a final walk around of how the bumper chop turned out. So I'm going to go ahead and do that right now with you guys. So let's go and take a quick walk around. So I got the fenders back on. Front fender flares. I took off the rear fender flares and the fronts. I had to do that because I had broken some of the clips, replaced those. They were all good to go. Now, as far as the front bumper here, you can see it turned out pretty solid. It turned out really symmetrical left to right, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. And so far I've been up to Reeder and been off-roading up in Leavenworth a little bit, and really I've had no rub issues at all. The angle that I cut this back at right here, and also capping this in and everything, it's worked out perfect for my tires. I have not had any more rub issues, so that's been really great. I still do have good protection out onto the fender flare a little bit. Keeps everything away from the body, so I don't have to worry about if I come into a tree. I'm not going to damage my, coming with the front impact off of a tree, I'm not going to damage my front fender panel. I'm really happy with how it turned out. To get a matching or somewhat matching color and texture here, so you can see this is a little bit lighter, a little bit more sort of a chalky looking color versus the texture that's on the bumper here. So what I ended up actually using is Rust-Oleum's undercoating here, and it did a pretty good job. Honestly, I don't really care too much about the looks of the bumper, but the big thing was I wanted to make sure I had somewhat of a textured surface and something that was going to hold up and not flake off like this old coating was starting to do. So it's doing a good job, it's holding up well, and I'm really happy with it. So that's gonna wrap up the video for the bumper chop. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video and you got a little bit taken away from it, and seeing what you can do to modify a full width bumper, at least if you have a steel bumper, how to make it work with 37-inch tires and make sure you're not going to have that rub issue, because man, I tell you what, I was really bummed when I first saw those lugs or the tread was starting to get ripped off. So I'm happy with where I'm at. Otherwise, if you guys like this video, go and give it a thumbs up or thumbs down. Leave some feedback, some comments down below for me. Let me know what you liked, didn't like, and also let me know if you guys have any questions. I can go into further detail, answer any of those for you. So hope you guys have a great afternoon. We are Victor Vector JKU, and we're taking on this build and the trails, both direction and magnitude. All right, guys, have a good one. Catch you next time.